Alrighty, guys, welcome to Squad Ops One Life event. Tonight we have Operation Crazy Horse for you. Your commentators for tonight is XF and Bcarr. How's it going, Bcarr?
It's going pretty good. I'm getting ready to see this classic operation unfold with you, and it's the highlight of my day.
Oh yeah, I know this is a fan favorite operation for sure. And then, of course, the man behind it all, we have Shadowed Ritual doing all the buttons, making you see all the different type of POVs that we're going to have tonight, as well with all the nice UI stuff. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and just roll straight into the operation brief so you guys know what you're looking at. Bcarr will go and cover that.
Operation Crazy Horse. U.S. have decided to put a little outpost over here in Kohat on one of the hills. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty exposed. And the Russians, not a fan. And so if we look at our map, the Russians will start on the west and they will move to the east. It's very much like I guess it's like a reverse, I don't know. I was gonna make an alternate history joke there. It's like Red Alert, except for the reverse way. And of course, there's bridges the vehicles are gonna have to take to cross the river that runs through Kohat. And the big objective is that fob on the radio tower hill, or actually, it could be anywhere. Matter of fact, it could be anywhere past of the JK line. East of the JK line, rather, as long as it's on the north side of the river, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like as we'll kind of hop into it later on. We'll show you a little bit more. But the U.S. decided to take over Madzai as their main fob location.
It's a great compound. It's really close, so I would imagine that the Russians are going to be kind of surprised that they chose this location because it is so close.
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting. But before that, let's go ahead and look at commands and SLs so we can do a little bit more theory crafting as we can kind of tell what the commands are going to be doing. So let's go ahead and we'll go and look here for the Russian side first. For our command, we have Phoenix with his SLs underneath him being Dwarf, Jive Gorilla, Bump, and It's Crispy. And on the US for the commands, we have Mr. Oh man, I butcher his name every single time. Hugasy?
Husey.
Husey, there we go. And his SLs Hero, HML, Krusty, and Dashby. So it's both of them are fairly new commands, but I think they also have very nice strats from what I've seen.
Husey's definitely been plying the trade very recently. Phoenix has not as much experience as Husey. They're both pretty inexperienced commands on the in the wider scope of squad ops, but they've been taking very bold steps to try to get more experience as quickly as they can. And on a classic like this, it's pretty easy to see why it attracts a lot of attention for commands, for people that want to squad lead inside the organization, and players, because I believe we have a full op tonight.
Yeah, we got a completely full op. So it's gonna be a full battlefield right now.
There's a few variations to Crazy Horse this time around that I want to go into very specifically. One of them is that I don't believe this has been a rule in the past, but the Logi must have the US Logi. One has a delay, so it can't immediately roll out to the base. And the second one is that it must have an MRAP escort at all times.
Yeah, I forget the op, but I know it's quite similar to an op where it has to have a striker escort. I think I think that's actually, yeah, that's the very, very old school Crazy Horse, where instead of the two MRAPs, you get one-time striker. Looks like US is just about to do command brief here, but we can't listen to them, so we're gonna run straight over to the Russians so we can listen in on their command.
It looks like they're doing platoon briefs over here on Russia. We got a live time here. Looks like we're going to go live in about 3 minutes. All of the squads for Russia are separated, and we get to see their actually get to see their sort of convoy, since they get 2 transports and 1 Logi and 1 BTR. The main portion of the convoy is going to be the 2 transports and the BTR. The Logi will probably come behind it. Actually, the Logi's, yeah, behind it. The Logi they get to use, they're allowed to build a mortar fob, sort of like a mortar OP. And this is something that we've been seeing a lot more often in operations, where an attacking team gets a option to build a mortar pretty much wherever they want on the map, as long as they have the Logi there to move the supplies for as many times as the mortar can be built in different places.
A body team to the red MG marker to posture 756. Squad
I've been really enjoying that change of the attacking team getting more mortars and such. But looks like we got the US brief going on right now, so we're going to listen in on
marker the MG marker. We'll be sending the body team to Gulf 624, basically the hills to the north. Squad 3, Squad 4, 2, so say. We'll be defending Gulf 768. Marks of the huts. And we're going to send the body team to Hotel 741, basically to the hills to the southeast. Squad 3 and 4 is going to deal with their maps and lodges. That's basically it. Any questions? Just going to hold tight the body teams on the hills. Once we see him, come to let us know where we are, and let's go from there. Nice and simple. Any questions?
Do you still love me?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Beast man, is your mic working?
I think we need a mutiny here. Ooh.
No, I
Don't
don't
remember,
hear
kids.
I have a quick question.
No, we don't even see you lighting up. Like,
Can you repeat it?
Usually we can only see that.
Who's guarding the south again? No, never mind.
Yeah, we're not seeing.
Alrighty, so that was the US brief. Very, very simple for them. Keeping it wide, really spreading it out so they can see where the Russians are coming from and then adapt later on. I think it's the right option. I like that type of adaptive, aggressive gameplay.
It has to be specifically when you have all of the AT assets on US. You've got to be able to put them out there to use them. You can't rely on the MRAP killing the BTR. I mean, you could try to jump it, but I think that's a super risky, maneuver. You got to be able to spread your squads out so that the lats can do what they do. Although, it's one rocket, one shot. You're going to have to be crafty. As a squad lead, you got to remember that your lat is probably the most important unit, especially when you have this looming BTR threat out there, and you're going to want to try to put your squad in a position that allows your lat unit to get a pretty high confidence shot. And that's the key. Some people are confident at hitting those 200, 300 meter, dingers, but although it's easier to sight those.
I see people go straight over in like a 20-meter shot, and it's like,
4 seconds.
How did you miss that? I don't entirely understand. and we are
Whoa, we're
live.
cited for 100.
Yeah, I've seen some really bad facepalm moments like that, and it changes how a round is played. Especially since you cannot get another rocket in these operations. It's devastating when it doesn't happen.
Typical with squad ops, no rearming during operations because it's one life, and carrying around all the supplies would require much more infrastructure than a platoon typically has when they roll in operation. So that's probably too milsimi of an explanation, but suffice to say, one rocket for each of those light units. However, Russia gets to play with a few other things this time around. They get some MMGs or MGs, the heavier machine guns. They also get breacher kits, which, if you're familiar with the streams lately, breacher kits are timed IEDs.
No, drop
However,
everything
I
here.
think they actually do
We
a
need
lot more
everything here. You
damage
need to go
than
pick up.
just your base IED.
They should be identical, but I think just how people play them versus IEDs, like just the title that it's given, people have the tendency to actually, kind of put this as a breaching charge versus an IED is kind of used more defensively.
I didn't know that. I mean, Operation Grit last Saturday in Session 2, the IED, the breacher kit was used to break a blockade, a checkpoint that was built on bridges on Basra. And that was, barrels, like the barrel walls, which are pretty hardy installations that you can use for fortifications on INS. And that breacher tore through both of those. I think the one time we saw the breacher kit used, the only thing left alive was the stakes for the barrels. It took it down all the way to that. The radio was gone, obviously, because I'm pretty sure everyone knows IED can just blow up the fob radio.
Yep, one-shotted.
But the barbed wire fences, those were obviously going to go. I imagine sandbag walls would be in the same state, but I didn't realize that the barrel wall would be so far gone. Matter of fact, one of them was completely destroyed. That was closer to the blast.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds about right for those barrels.
I think we're getting Russia trying to go up the west side of the map as far north as they can before they proceed. Pretty smart play. You get higher up in the map in the north, I believe, and plenty of advance notice of what you're going to run into. Except for, I believe, U.S.'s fob radio area is kind of in a valley, and they might have some hills in the way for Russia being able to figure out what's going on.
Well, I think U.S. it looks like they're more southern-sided. They do have a squad in position for them to kind of go either way, which is Squad 1. But for the most part, their north is fairly open. And that's going to be a problem since that's where the Russians' main forces is going to be coming from. So we'll see what ends up happening with the U.S. movement during this.
Not to mention the MRAP and the Logi for U.S. are going to have to take that northern route because that's where Maine is. And that's how they get the supplies to their FOB. So could be a pretty good opportunity for Russia's BTR to grab a kill. And Russia dismounting here at the bridge at Charlie 5-4, the northernmost bridge that was marked on the operation map, the red line going east-west. Oh, and the BTR dropping security too. Maybe the BTR was carrying a squad as well.
Yeah, usually those BTRs are kind of like the transport. And then once they kind of get hollowed out, they're just there to be a gun, more like an emplacement.
Oh, okay. Well, they're coming back in now.
All aboard!
I guess they decided they didn't want to go for that long of a run.
Yep.
Would have been a bit.
Thank you.
Mine check, the Rose says in the Twitch chat. Yeah, it probably was a mine check.
U.S. do have 2 engineers, and they get to place a handful of mines between them.
Yeah, I just have to look out this window. I'm kind of forced to.
You also have to move extremely fast to get to that bridge, though. I would
I think
fast.
the U.S. starting position would have to be up north for this
Yeah.
bridge to be mined.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, they could see over that valley for a very, very long distance, and they would be able to tell where they're coming from.
They would have to start north or somewhere close by, and they would have to send an MRAP from their FOB radio location, because that's where U.S. starts in this situation. They would have to send an MRAP by itself with the 2 engineers or just 1 engineer straight to this bridge from live. They would have to rush it, and I don't think, given what US's plan is, I'm not sure that proactive exposed approach is what they want to do for their MRAP, especially when it's heading straight towards Russia's push. They don't know that, but it would be pretty bad if the MRAP got caught out just now.
Most definitely. I mean, it's kind of a damned on both sides, just because, you know, the MRAP, yeah, it dies, but it also, that alerts the entire American team where the main Russian force is as well. So it's not like that MRAP died and it did nothing. It did a little bit of recon, even though its recon was its death. But, you know, you have these trade-offs.
Yeah, it definitely would send the information back about the transports, and if it saw all 3 trucks, then that would be really telling as far as Russia's idea for pushing north here, as they are across the river and now they're pushing east into the U.S. territory. Still about a click and a half away, probably about a 1.2 kilometers away from contact, and looks like we're getting some security here.
U.S. has a pretty good spread for the south side, I would say, which is not where the Russians are pushing from. We got Squad 2, very nice spread on top of the hill line. Squad 1 set up in a position right near the river so they can go either north or south, depending on what Squad 3 up on the north side sees, which I'm assuming Squad 3 is going to be able to see these main Russian force pretty soon here. It's just they're so far away. I mean, you're staring at pixels at this point.
All right, I'll stay north of my BTR.
Two Russian squads have disembarked and split off from the main convoy. And it looks like Phoenix is attempting to find a hill with which to use binoculars from, a little bit to the south of his convoy's resting spot. He's got 1 squad going north and 1 squad kind of going just to this hill, but I imagine this squad is going to maneuver more to the east and try to get up on the next hill over.
This MMG right now, who is this? We got Big Mac. If he looks north, he could see possibly a couple Russian skyline. But it's, I mean, it is a super long range shot that he has to see. I mean, even on the stream, Mac zoom in at his angle, those guys are still like pixels.
I mean, you're gonna just waste ammo shooting at 600-700 meters, and that's gonna take 20-30 seconds, and it's gonna give your position away, because why else would you? I would think the next move would be for.
I would think you just call it out and then just leave it.
Yeah, it's too far to realistically engage.
Maybe if you're the MMG with, you know, a what is it called, a pip sight on it, or an LCAN, you could pull off that shot, but you'd be the only one being able to do that.
Yeah, if the MMG had a magnified optic, this would be happening right now. But of course, Squab's events, magnified optics typically not used.
Yeah, no magnified optics except for binos. And talking about binos, I think HML can see these Russians right now. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, he's staring directly at them. I really wish I could hear the U.S. comms right now. So I think HML spotted them, but I'm not sure. So I don't see any movement
But
from their platoons.
Also-
Maybe squad
also,
2 might be moving up here. But I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think HML spotted them.
Beastman and Ninja, sometimes they'll use that south hill and go behind it, so just keep checking your south.
US are pushing actually 2 MRAPs off to the east. I'm assuming they're going to get on top of Radio Tower just by the road they're taking. You got Strike 420 and Vindication in one, and Beastman and the local Ninja in the other. We'll see what they turn up to the road going up to
600 meters.
Radio Tower. Yeah, they're going up to Radio Tower for sure.
Copy. Everyone hold.
Jive calls in over Russian command comms. He has eyes on 600-meter away sandbags. And I believe Phoenix is going to collate some information here and try to figure out where he wants to send his squads. And now Dorf see things too, even though I've been looking over Dorf's shoulder for the past 3 minutes, and there's definitely been people out there, but I wonder maybe he was just looking at
He says Fox 621. So that's the hill just north of a buddy team. It's Squad 3's buddy team. The MG, which is Big Mac and someone else.
All right, Squad leads
He's calling out this hill as a possible scout position, which is it's somewhat okay.
it's
But
pretty close to where they're at.
yeah.
I mean, the line of direction, and obviously the person right there, or the gunner right there, seems to be skylining pretty badly, which is the only reason why Dwarf saw him at this range. But
They're setting up on line.
call's
for sure
pretty good.
right
It's within 50 meters. The call.
Yeah, I know. It's actually really decent. Especially at that range. I mean, your depth perception it's lacking.
Dwarf stepping off here. They're gonna go east southeast, away from the convoy. Perhaps the idea here is to hop the next hill and see if they can get some elevated positioning to shoot down into the valley.
These Russians, they are moving around right now. They're moving aggressively out in the open.
This is a very rough grid, but it was around.
And I don't see much movement yet from any of the Americans. So I don't think they've been spotted. And let me fly back over to Dashby here and see if he has any line of sight on anyone, or any possible line of sight.
Okay.
Looks like no. You wouldn't. You wouldn't have any possible line of sight on anyone.
What map here do you think that compound is in?
There's quite a bit of hill, and some of the Russians are taking advantage of the terrain pretty well as they move east here.
I would say rough Fox 755.
Yeah, they're taking over the large hill, the very large hill that looks over. Oh man, what is that point? I can't remember what the point is.
Fox 736.
They're taking over this hill right here. But this is the old point in Invasion V1 for Kohat.
All squads, we believe they are in the compound Fox 733.
I think it's
That's direct
Sunikau.
southeast of
I'm
the
not
bridge.
100% sure. I haven't played that layer in
I
forever.
think so.
Oh, BTR Skylines. Dave Dash, you
Forgot
better
the
see this. This
name.
is a
That is
green
Russian
BTR in a desert.
Squad, I see the Emra on the radio tower, like southeast, like 138. See some movement, little.
Come on, Dashby, you gotta see this.
Should be able to take 'em out.
He has to see this BTR.
Am I free to engage?
Free to engage.
I think the BTR is going to open up here.
He said free to engage, and well, we'll see.
3, let's move to the next ridge.
Man, I also have infantry to my southeast. Multiple hilltops.
How far out for?
Can you not park that shot?
They're calling more multiple hilltops. I wonder if they see the MRAP. I'm pretty sure it's up there right next to the radio tower.
I think that's what they're looking at right now. I think the Russians are looking at Hilltop, but then the Americans are looking directly at the Russians. Kind of a weird combo there.
We see them, they see us.
I don't know, man. I don't see a fucking big fucking big on top of the fucking hill.
There's definitely an MRAP there to the right of the tower.
Need to move east.
Probably about 20 meters in front of it.
HML definitely sees this BTR. He's looking through the bush directly at the BTR, just using the bush as cover. So he moved back over to his original location. But I mean, I think he definitely spotted this guy.
Dorf is out here beside the BTR for Russia, and there's a conversation between the squad lead and the gunner of the vehicle. There's a disagreement about whether or not these targets are effectively engageable.
Itself.
So I think the Russians have two good options right now.
Right.
Either one,
Dude,
they can go ahead and
can't see this guy at
have what is it, squad
like
5 and 3 push down just a little bit more south onto the hill over here in Fox 6 sub 7, set up a base of fire, and let 4 and 1 go around to the east side and hit him from a really strange direction that you don't see that much. Or vice versa, 4 and 1 move up a little bit closer, they set up a base of fire, and 5 and 3 uses the valley to sneak up on the Americans and just peer over the hill. I don't know which one's better, honestly, but I think either way, that is going to be their options.
Really far. It's 1,000 meters.
Alright, BTR. Yes.
It's turning to professional staring contest with 50 cals. It's actually a 50 cal and a 14.5. Even bigger on the BTR.
I don't think you call it a gun at that point. You call it a cannon, right?
Yeah, I think it's counted as an auto cannon.
Alright, BTR, move up where I'm at now. You should be able to see him from here.
These Russians, I mean, they're running straight out in the open.
BTR is probably going to move a little bit closer to try to get a better position. And I think the BTR, the gunner just couldn't find a target. Dorf is trying to talk his BTR onto some targets.
Not the far one, the near one. He's prone.
I want to make sure I don't lose the men on the west side.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're maneuvering.
Take some
go
shots
check
at him.
those guys out. Yes, correct. Part of the mod is it limits the zoom on the VIX. The binos have not been changed. That's why you see the SLs go right against the VIX and use their binos.
BTR engaging hilltop enemies. Rather, the Russian BTR is engaging US on the hilltop.
So yeah, 3 and 5, they're taking this ability to maneuver right now. They're using that distraction. We got 3, which is Jive Guerrilla, taking his men into that valley, like I was saying, and pushing down south. Meanwhile, 5 looks like there's going to be a base of fire. They'll probably push up this hill once 3 gets into a little bit better positions.
Roger. All right, we're swinging past squad 1. BTR.
Still no movement on the US side. They are just holding their same locations, even though they've most definitely seen these Russians. So instead of fighting over the direct hill line that they know the Russians are going to peak,
BTR,
they're going to go into a valley fight, and it's going to be who has better shooters at that point. Once you get into a valley fight, it's who has better shooters.
Russia closing the distance here, now within about 400 meters of contact in the western part of the platoon, northern part of the platoon, a little bit further, about 500 meters away. Command is moving with the western element. So I foresee him. I foresee him trying to get a elevated position there. That maybe he could sort of like poke in the side of the U.S. defense and get on a nice hilltop and start telling people where to go.
Yes, the 14.5, it shoots armor-piercing high explosive rounds. So they have a tiny amount of blast radius, but they're mainly for armor piercing.
Might be able to light up the MRAP.
HML
BTR is about to
pulled his
engage
squad
the
back to
MRAP.
the actual main compound here.
Hopping into commander.
He left his fire team, or his buddy team, out in the open. This would be interesting for that buddy team.
BTR engaged the MRAP. It's going back and forth. It's getting hit.
MRAP's moving.
Those MRAPs are very fragile too, so you don't need too much 14-5.
Oh my gosh, that's so much damage.
That is indeed a lot of damage. It's smoking.
It's not
but it's
blown
not,
up
it's
yet.
not on fire yet.
I think it's shooting randomly. I don't know what. I think the driver is.
I think the driver got stuck on something real fast.
He's gone. He's gone. Nice.
Okay, got it.
All right,
That's nice.
And the Bcarr is
It rolled
dead.
down the hill.
Yeah, so it tumbled down the hill and then exploded. Very nice.
Correction, squad 1. I believe that's a 50 cal on that hilltop.
And BTR switching to coax to try to take out someone on top of the hill skylining.
Yeah, 7.62 coax. It does less damage, but it sure as heck also has a lot more drop off. So you can use it. You got to know your ranges. 3 is gonna just roll right up on this MG buddy team, and it's not gonna be good. Big Mac and his buddy, who is this Flay J, are gonna get obliterated.
4, pull you guys back west. I wanted 1 on your east.
Oh, A-firm. Sorry, miscorrection, miscommunication. 4, come back to me. Dismounts back to me.
Roger that.
JC, what are you engaging now?
Russia, squad 3 and 5, they're setting up for a push. They're most definitely the closest right now. And no one's really looking the direction because of the BTR killing an MRAP. 5 is, I mean, they're pushing their guys up closer instead of taking over the hill. They're trying to get them as close as possible, and I mean, they can because HML pulled his guys off of the hill that they're pushing, and they're no longer watching their backs. So this is the that American squad that was actually up here on this ridge line, and would have seen 5 move up on them, but they retreated.
Push along the river.
I would at least keep like 1 or 2 guys out there to scout it, but I don't know. It definitely is an odd call. I mean, you have that BTR that could definitely shoot at you, so you have that to worry about. But at the same time, the scouting data that you get from it is so huge.
I see that. Well done.
Yes, this is the first round.
Russians have a great spot to maneuver in. The squad that's in front of command, I believe this is the rest of squad. This is 3. Has really they're covered. They're completely covered. They're moving in concealment and cover because of these huge hills, and they're going to be able to get up on the next hill. This next hill overlooks the entire compound area.
Yeah,
be
so
able to
what
shoot
I
at anything that's not high behind the wall.
What I expect is as soon as 3 and 5, or 3 and 2 actually, take over that hill, that's going to be it. Like 4 and 1 are going to swing back around and just they're going to come in from the other side and they're not going to even be prepared for it.
Americans moving a squad back from the north. They're going to pull them back into the compound, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because they can't pull them into the compound. There's already too much people in that one compound. They need to go on the hill line. That's for sure. Looking at kills real fast. We don't have any actual downs yet, so it might have been just respawns. So I think the only casualty so far is the MRAP. However, Big Mac, he doesn't know that there's multiple Russians about to walk up onto him, like directly onto him.
Yeah, this is fire team leader Sintu with who's this? This is an AR gunner, a flaccid walrus. Ops reg. Ooh, and they're not really looking this way. Well, I wonder if Big Mac
Big
heard
Mac's
him because
crawling
he's
up.
crawling back.
Yeah.
Oh, and his flat body's coming over too. Oh my gosh. Big Mac definitely. No, maybe not. White, it's injured. Hurt him.
Uh-oh. Clay J fell. Jive saw him.
Big Mac gets up to crawl or gets up from front.
Oh, wow. Rip. All right, so now we just have Big Mac. Man, I feel bad for Clay J. He fell down that hill and then Jive lit him up. That's unfortunate. Big Mac is panicking most likely. This is where I really wish I could hear their comms. I wish I could just choose what comms I wanted. Yeah, big rip for sure. Now we should need Big Mac to have the big rip as well.
Dorf cautioning the element here, moving with command, that they've got a fire team sized element in front of them. And US are making a big pivot here to the southwest. They've sent another squad into the valley.
Yeah, so I think they sent HML to go ahead and attack the Russian squad 3. Very interesting play. I like that. That I do like. That's thinking outside the box. Big Mac pulls off the hill, and
I wonder if Axe saw
he's
him
using his cover.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna get back
safe.
to the squad.
That's good. That's one of the things we encourage the players to do is when they're out there by themselves, try to link back up with a friendly element. And more than likely, most of his squad is still alive, so he's well contained within the little hierarchy we have going on in this platoon. Major Russian push happening at the same time here.
Yeah, I'll stay on these guys over in the west. How far do you think
Squad 1 in the east, in the valley, pushing up to Squad 2. They're pretty close now. Squad 4 holding base of fire on top of a hill. And mortars have been deployed for Russia, so the assault will probably begin very soon.
5 is about to crest this hill. I think they're holding back. It's Russian squad 2. They're holding back just until the main guys coming in from the east side have made full-on contact, and they're gonna pour up this hill and just storm the beaches, basically. Good old Normandy tactic.
Yeah,
just hey, look this way, and then your main force is actually the other way.
Russia Squad 4 is suppressing targets, and Russia's Squad, I believe this is 1, is pushing a radio tower. And the Americans that should be looking in this direction just aren't on top of their hill. They're hiding from the suppression, I think. Although the suppression, I don't think is directed at them. They're just hiding, trying not to get seen.
I think HML he's spotting out the amount of Russians coming up on the northern hill of the Americans, but he's telling his guys to keep hold right now. I mean, you can see how many of them are online and ready to fire. They're just waiting for the command. And there goes the fire. We got an SL and a couple other members, Flaccid Walrus, and I think it's Axe. Yeah, Axe Gaming getting suppressed to absolutely crap right now by HML's squad.
I'm hoping I don't freaking die.
Meanwhile,
man.
in the east, Crispy Squad, they've got elevation advantage. They're going to go down the hill here, and they're going to attack a American squad that has been called out to them multiple times. American Squad 2. They've got a couple buddy teams on the line, on the ridge line here. They're taking shots at Russian 4 now. And Crispy turns his entire squad directly in that direction. Mortars coming out too for Russia.
HMO, he's pulling his squad back. It's just he's too far away to do anything effective. He's too far out of play. All these Russians are going to storm over their friendlies on the main location, and these Americans are going to get stuck on the other side of the river maneuvering without being able to help actually defend.
Crispy begins engaging.
Mortars landing directly inside the compound. Looks like it got one.
Crispy started engaging the element here, the U.S. element that was holding the top of this hill, and they've lost a couple people for it. Only taken one down in return, maybe two.
Yeah, any deaths on either side? Yes, we are at 4 kills for the Russians and 3 for the U.S. So really, 3 deaths for the Russians, 4 deaths for the U.S.
This is kind of unfortunate, but this body on the top of the hill here, you know, it's going to be a bullet magnet. The Russians could definitely use that.
More mortars land directly on the compound, except everyone learned to stay in cover now. Where is the mortar location? It is way up here north in Gulf 5, sub 4. Hold on a second. We got an MRAP also right above the BTR. It's shooting at it. Yeah, the MRAP is nailing the BTR right in the butt, and it goes down. Wow. He was
a sneak play.
Strike 420. Wow, that was a beautiful sneak by the MRAP. Like how you were talking about BTR, it's going to be really hard for the MRAP to sneak around and do something like that, and it did exactly that. There was absolutely no security on the BTR. It was, yeah, all their infantry pushed up ahead. They had the mortar fob to kind of look over it, but not really.
Mortar fob ain't going to pay attention to that. There's going to be 2 people at mortar fob. One guy running the mortar, and then 1 squad leader that's on command comms.
Yep, pretty much. Actually, this time they have 1 extra guy as a either a forward scout or someone to actually respond to contact before the SLs to put his binos down. You don't want to scratch the lenses, you know. They're really expensive.
It's a big bummer for Russia losing the BTR. That was supposed to be their insurance policy against MRAP shenanigans. Clearly not the case.
Looks like HML squad, they've retreated back up to the top of the hill, and they're taking the long route all the way down south and around. And I mean, they got to move fast, but it's just so much distance for them to cover for them to do anything. They're so far out of play.
The MRAP that's in the north retreated a second, and now it's still hanging out.
I mean, I just killed a BTR. I mean, if I was the MRAP, I would stay there and kind of just sit and wait to see if any infantry pops up.
Yeah, I think I saw Dorf trying to look for the MRAP, and no joy. The MRAP is now moving off a little bit further north, and it's going to take this road back around and probably rejoin the defensive line. Or just find another hill to, snipe an entire squad off of. Who knows?
The U.S. they're giving up all the good positions. They're saying, nope, you guys can have the hilltops. You guys can shoot us inside our compounds all you want.
For debris along the northern side of that field.
I don't quite get it. I don't.
America is out east. 769. Northeast. 769.
Roger, I'll try to get there. I'll try to get there.
BTR is still bugging out in the east.
We're assaulting that compound.
It's actually going through Maine. I wonder if they're trying to find the Logi to make a run with it.
Assault that compound now.
Oh, they might be, but I don't know. I think they're past doing a Logi run at this point in the U.S.
Yeah, we're just pushing. Yeah, still
multiple compound.
Yeah, there's probably some fire.
Okay. Who's my? Hey, Charles. Why don't you
Drive calling out guys in the most western compound.
Watch us.
Russians still have control of Radio Tower Hill. And they have a nice sized element directly north of the city. And of course, the mortars were attacking the city area.
All right, why would you not? The city's so nice and dense, really juicy targets everywhere.
Not if everyone's inside a building.
I wish that, even like, since buildings are not destructible, I wish the splash did a little bit extra damage through walls. You know, like, right now they do none. I would see, like, a tiny bit of damage through walls would be nice.
I think it'd be cool if the mortars or like super big explosives would be able to hit through walls, but not kill, but definitely wound, unless they were directly on the explosion. I'm not a software developer, so I don't know how insane that would be to code into Unreal, but yeah.
Oh, we've done silly things like make basically a nuke RPG. You shoot it at a building, and everything inside the building and everything around the building just dies.
Oh, that's right, you're on mod dev.
Yeah, isn't that just magical? Squad of 4 here pushing up through the field. Only a couple of them. They're getting fairly suppressed, but they're pushing on 2. They're getting that pressure going. American Squad 3 is about to get the flank on Russian Squad 1.
Yeah, Russian Squad 1 made an assault on American positions, and they moved off Radio Tower.
That was good effect on mortars if we could get more there. Rounds complete on Golf 713.
What's the most kills ever in an op? Oh man, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's definitely
Grit, we had
We have 1,106 ammo.
I think Shattered is saying upward of 17, which is that's insane.
There was a HMG gunner that had 15 kills on Grit on Saturday.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, HML just spotted all the Russians on the backside of this hill. They think they're safe, except everyone's getting out on line. Then their guns laying down, ready to go. MMG's going. Here they go. That's very nice. 4 Russians down already. I think only 2 survived that engagement right there. Wow, that is a good flank right there. That's a very good flank.
Well, that was good.
Command, this is 3M being engaged by the MRAP at Radio Tower.
Let's see if
There
Red
goes
has anything to say here.
There goes a squad for Russia.
Yeah, I mean
that's Nash over here. Prone, and Revy's alive too.
Revy sees him moving up. So does the Americans. Ooh, 1 tap on the American.
Revy now has command comms too. Scaly and Ash and Revy making an escape. They're gonna push back east, and Scaly and Ash is gonna look at. Wow, he gets 2 in 1 burst. The Russians are just like.
Spacing.
The Russians have no battle spacing. Here comes a grenade for good measure. This is gonna get at least 1.
Oh, battle.
Oh, it was a little short. It was about 5 meters short from actually hurting someone, I think. What an amazing awareness play from Scaling. I'm sure it was just dumb luck, but getting that's something to. Oh, he has a bandage here. He got tagged on his escape.
So we got the MRAP here set up at Radio Tower now in a beautiful, I mean an absolutely beautiful hold down position, and just suppressing the living crap out of what is this, Squad 2 and 3 up on the north side with command as well. Squad 5. And I mean that's some them pushing down into the valley. I mean, just give an example. This right here is a good hold down position. This is what you're seeing. Like that's beautiful. Meanwhile, we got Squad 4 from the Russian side pushing in to American Squad 2. We used the field to get up close, but I think they're having trouble actually pushing into this main compound.
Hotel 8-9. Copy. We got eyes in this compound.
Wow.
Take a look break at kills here. We got 14 downs for the Americans and 7 for the Russians. So America is up by 2, or 2 times. So that's pretty nice. That's America must be feeling up right now.
Yeah, I got infantry remounting on the MRAP.
It all comes down to just.
Okay, I'm by myself.
I think the Russian plan was a great plan. The idea of pushing the north, you got the elevation advantage most of the time. It's the ideal spot to mortar the town from. But you got to have some more support for pushing in, and you can't just have one squad pushing by themselves. You got to have base of fire and 2 elements push through.
Where you were before.
I mean,
not
they
just base of fire and 1 element.
I think they would have done perfectly fine if it wasn't for HML to come up the rear and literally take out an entire squad. Like that was what really did it.
Some great thinking by U.S. throwing those squads around, being aggressive just like they wanted to.
Yep.
Now, Squad 4 here on the east. Squad 4 here on the east, looking at a village. More Russian reinforcements to their north, sort of running along the wall. There's a squad trapped in here.
They left their MMG and their AR up here on the hill, Squad 3 that is, and just left them to shoot as many rounds as possible to make them think there's actually still a good amount of force up there. Meanwhile, the main fighting force, all the infantry, is pushing up close to this compound. But America, and they're not breaking to these type of mind games. They're keeping that 360 security, which is the utmost important thing to do when you're in this type of circumstance.
3, go ahead.
Dorf is pushing through building by building. He's getting chased too. Theory outside the door. And a trade. Theory getting 2 there before he goes down, but Dorf's down.
We got a couple
Game
of
on
ready to breach this
outside.
wall. I don't know if they're gonna throw nades over, if they're gonna volt it, but they're all gonna. Oh, American nade going out. Oh, he put it down. Oh, he better throw that nade. Take that nade out and throw it. Yeah, Russian throws a frag. America throws a frag. Another Russian frag. Oh, just barely missed it. He's throwing a second frag. I think it's gonna roll down the hill.
A little bit far.
Oh my gosh, no one dies from the frags. That is extremely surprising.
That's great. A bunch of explosions.
Oh, wow.
I think someone bandaged and that's it.
If only you underhanded that. I mean, he would have gotten like 6 Americans with 1 frag. That would have been so glorious.
I wonder if they didn't think the Russians
Oh, a
were
breacher charge just went
outside.
down. Acid placed a breacher charge. Oh my gosh, and we got another breacher charge going off on the main compound. They know that there's a breach charge in that door. They heard that one go off, and then I'm sure the SL said, "Watch out for this breacher charge." And boom, there it goes. Wow, that is quite wonderful. Russia's running over. They're gonna volt. Still, oh, he still gets him though.
That was an amazing jump.
He must be feeling lucky. The AR lights him up though.
Russians in the compound, though. Well, there were Russians in the compound. No, there still is one. No, there's not. No, there still is one.
Cortez gets body thrown by assault, just friggin' destroying him through a window.
Alright, we got a whole bunch of guys on
Russians pushing up the naked side of a hill, straight into who is this? Paul Mall. Looks like he took down 1, maybe 2 more before he trades out here.
Acid's vaulting over the wall. He jumps right on top of a guy who's bandaging. He gets him. He drops back down.
Mortar's extremely close to Russian positions.
American Peaks gets Cloud Void. He's one of the only remaining. Acid tries to do a jump peek here on Assault in the compound. Doesn't work.
And the Russians are now starting to clear the main compound sort of combo. It's this 1-2 group of the small compound with a bunch of small rooms, and then you have the main compound with radio it's in, which also has that 2-story building. Of course, that's also where the most American resistance is remaining on the map.
I'm glitched.
And I believe I heard that the mortars are done. So Russians out of mortars. Oh, bad frag.
It's always a bad frag.
Okay, bad frag caused someone to bandage. Uh-oh, someone has no bandages. There's a medic right there, though, to help it out.
Okay, thank you.
In command, pushing with a squad attached to him into the compound.
Alright, this building's clear. Pushing out.
Get ready to push
This angle of attack from the compound that command is in, plus his squad going straight south in the next compound, is kind of strong. Although, yeah, because they have this little ravine right here and no one's looking at it. Oh, maybe it's not so strong. There's an HMG tripod looking at the back door. There's an HMG.
I can't wait for them to peek that door and just realize how wrong they are. Mortar's the one on the south side of the compound. Not super effective.
Oh, the mortars were done. I guess they're not.
Oh wow, we got
Copy that. Vindication's down.
American Squad 3 HML Squad coming up behind the last 2 remaining Russians over here on the western compound.
Yep.
Acid finally goes and starts to push. He gets 1, I believe. Yeah. No, he just peeked him through the window. Very nice. But soon HML Squad's gonna run right on top of them. Flaccid Walrus goes down. So we just have Acid Pantaloons left. He knows he's surrounded.
Here comes the assault. Russians pushing south here. They're about ready to see what the HMG has.
Sees him, kills Acid. That is the rest of the Russians over here on the west side. Now we got Axe Gaming moving in now.
The Lord Chanka just melts the halt in front of the HMG. And the Russians realize it, and they're going to find another way in.
Surprised they realized the HMG was there without hearing 50 shots go off.
They actually have another HMG watching the front door, although it wasn't being manned at that time. I think he got killed by a mortar or a frag. There is a... What is this? This is a saw gunner looking at the side door here to the east.
I think Axe Gaming is going to be rejoining with the main what remains of the Russian platoon. Let's look at our kills real fast here. We're at 22 for the Russians and 30 for the US. So yeah, we're very close to a full end here.
I need a bandage. Gotta cross over here.
Blind nade from America causes Phoenix to bandage.
Watch that door. They have a heavy machine gun watching it.
Actually, Phoenix is out of bandages, so Command has no more bandages. So he has to find a medic. Or maybe no, I guess he used the last one.
Who's coming in?
Three's, yeah, they're going to be sweeping around the outside of this compound, and the Russians are not going to be prepared for it. Ack tries to go for the hard peek here, the 50. Barely missing him. HML's coming in around. He sees one, gets pipe, and he gets axed. Oh, beautiful, like, just spray, really, from HML. Phoenix, Command, pushing up now as well. Oh, they get a trade.
It was the only thing that could happen because Phoenix can't push that corner.
Yep. So now we just have techs left.
I think he wants a piece of that HMG. He's got a rocket. You know what works really well in buildings?
Frag rounds.
Rockets.
Frag rounds do extremely well, especially when there's a Russian standing or an American standing right next to you as well. So you can do is you can hit it from this angle, nail that guy, and you'll kill the HMG gunner.
It's like a trick shot.
Beautiful. Yeah. You're basically dude perfect in squad.
Maybe he's having second thoughts about doing this by himself.
I think he wants to go home. I think that's what he's thinking of right now.
There's actually some Russians to his south, to his north here. Bump and who else is it?
Yeah, this is
Epic
the mortar
Smile.
squad. Yeah, this is the 3-man mortar team. We are airborne as well.
So there's an AR over here too. Oh, that's not, yeah, that's an AR. No, it's not. I can't see symbols. I'm losing my mind.
I'm honestly surprised they haven't smoked at that HMG yet. Like it seems like the obvious thing to do. I mean, they could just be completely out of there, but there were so many people at that door. I doubt every single one of them used their smokes.
They have eyes on the approach if you come.
Ooh, Bump's gonna take a peek.
Right there. They have eyes from that doorway to the left side of it.
I wonder how
Jack's trying
dealing
to
with
talk
the
Bump into
HMG
it.
is.
Okay, let's see if we can bypass.
Well, no, that's right, because we've removed the optics from the HMG, so it's not like straight up in your face. Like you look down the scope and all you can see is the pimple, on their cheek or their chin.
HMG gunner is Snafu.
You're basically just a test dummy. So if you get shot down, killed, you know not to go there. Oh, up there.
Yep, we are airborne.
It's not. It's actually a rabbit watching the outside.
Okay, back up.
He's got himself a little cheeky spot too. There's a little hill, and he's got concealment.
Sometimes that's all you need in squad. You just need. Honestly, sometimes I prefer concealment over cover, just because like if I can see through a bush, I know that they can't really see me, especially at long range, and then it just makes it impossible for them to find out where I am.
I don't even think Airborne was looking that direction, to be honest with you. I think he was.
Hey, what do you have left rocket-wise, Tex?
I think he was focused more on the right, and he was trying to look at the door.
Okay. Line up here. And
I believe Gunner Sergeant Rabbit had a little off position from the door.
I think you're sending an RPG down the doorway.
Try stand up, hit it.
I mean,
except the
yeah.
guy, leave the gunner now. He's still on it.
Now,
Be careful though.
He's got to be careful with it.
It's only a heat round, so it's not going to get much splat.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, he hits
misses the door.
sill. Yeah.
There's 3 Russians left.
Back.
HMG gunner putting some discouragement out the door.
Okay.
Ooh.
Bump most likely has his frags left over.
This is where it gets really sketchy. Do we have a rifleman left?
Yeah.
Hey, Epic Smile, come up here. Epic Smile, come up.
I bet you the Americans in the other compound are getting a little itchy and they want to move out.
I was gonna say put a
I think I saw someone trying to look at the door in the south.
Keep moving. We'll use the frag as cover sound.
And if anyone in that compound actually looks east, if they get on top of a building.
Oh, I think they're getting one man to run outside, or at least check the door on the eastern side. No, southern side. He's gonna peek it right when Little Bump does as well.
Here's our chance.
He gets a Little Bump, and the lat. That was Tex. Who is that? That was the AR gunner, Damien.
Press and hold mouse 1 until desired result.
Yeah, it's a lethal one.
Here comes into the repeat
again. Ooh, and he gets him as well. Wow, and that is game. All right, that was a fantastic round 1 for Squad Ops 1 Life event. This is our Wednesday op. If you wanted to join in on any of these events, please check us out at squadops.dg. Make sure to follow us over at twitch.tv/squadops and youtube.com/squadop. This is XF commentating for you. Same with, or as well with Bcarr. We're going to take a break, be back with round 2 in just a few minutes.
I was alive, and then I went out in
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out to SOTT Basic. I'm your instructor today, Hammering Hutch. You guys can simply just call me Hutch. When we are suppressing an enemy target, the whole intent of this is to keep the enemy's head down so an adjacent unit can maneuver onto them. During this process, we have a thing that happens automatically and organically, whether it be with buddy teams or fire teams. The whole intent is to ensure there's no lull in the gunfire, thus talking guns. Open fire. Contact front. Alpha, bound. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down. Bravo, bound. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down. All right, Bravo set. Alpha up. He sees me. I'm down. You're now in what is known as a file. You're now in what is known as a staggered column, and usually used when on patrol or when moving from one location to another where contact is imminent. And these are a few of the basic formations that we use during squad ops. The SOTT Advanced Weapons Systems course was created to ensure Squad Ops participants share the same knowledge and understanding of the use and applications of mission-specific weapons and the basic tactics involved in their deployment. The Automatic Rifleman. The Automatic Rifleman is the foundation of a fire team and/or squad. The job of the Automatic Rifleman is to deliver a high volume of prolonged, effective suppressing fire on enemy positions to allow the maneuver of friendly units during offensive operations and the repelling of enemy attacks in defensive operations. The Grenadier, a key member of the fire team and squad. The Grenadier is first and foremost a rifleman who is capable of delivering accurate fire of both high explosive and smoke rounds on point and area targets at varying distances. One of the other added benefits of the Grenadier is to engage dead space, which is essentially an area that cannot be hit by direct fires. The Light Anti-Tank Gunner. Soldiers carrying light anti-tank weapons are, just as Grenadiers, riflemen first. They are the ideal infantry-based counter to both lightly armored and thin-skinned vehicles. At short, medium, and far distances, the rockets fired are a viable weapon against groups of infantry as well. The SOTT Advanced Weapons Systems course, although not a requirement, is highly encouraged for Squad Ops participants to join to expand their knowledge of how to utilize the tools that are given to us within Squad.
That way, then they're going from different mark.
Sorry, I was say squad 2.
Look at the BTR. Squad 2. Squad 2. Look at the BTR.
suggest taking 600 build because either 600 or 300 because 500 build does us nothing. We can only build one mortar and then we get 200 spare for nothing. We can't dig up the mortar and then build it elsewhere. So I'm suggesting 600. Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Squad Ops One Life event, Operation Crazy Horse. We're back with round 2, almost said session 2. So we had a great round 1. I really love how it felt like it was kind of Russian-sided, like Russia, they were starting to get ahead, and then all of a sudden, like, we saw this flank from HML, and it just swung in the completely other direction, and it was glorious to watch, it really was. We'll go over the op real fast. Their op doc for anyone who's joining us real fast. We got Bcarr with me, who will go over that, as well as Shadowed Ritual running the cams behind it all, setting up all those POV views.
This is Operation Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse is fairly simple, but there's a few complications. Russia is attacking from the west to east, and there's a mysterious FOB location that the U.S. have set up. This FOB is the target for Russia. They get a few assets to play with. One of them is a BTR. One of them is a mortar FOB that can be redeployed based on how much construction support the Logi Russia has is carrying. And the U.S. troops here, they have something to play with too. 2 open top MRAPs.
Saw that come into pretty big use last round.
One of the open top MRAPs is tied to the Logi. Whenever the Logi makes a run to main for resupply, the MRAP an MRAP must escort it. That kind of frees up the other MRAP to either be a glorified turret on a hill or to sneak around and shoot the BTR in the back. Anything's possible.
That's right. Fire team lead. I had to help him.
Of course, the MRAP's not as hardy as the BTR. A complete surprise was achieved last round by Mr. Hughesy's team and their ability to put that BTR or put that MRAP in the right position at the right time.
Yeah, I believe it was Vindication and Strike 420 that pulled off that amazing flank. That was great.
Nothing, sir. Nothing, sir.
This is the Russian army. This is not the Russian Navy.
Looks like they're doing individual squad briefs here for the Russian side. You're getting a lot of people to mount up right now. So I think we'll actually be pretty fast alive here. We'll go over our commands real fast. We got a live time of 7:45, so we got about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But yeah, so for our commands, we have Mr. I'm still gonna mess it up, even though Mr. Hughes. You right? Yeah, I think. There we go. And as command, with his SLs, HML, Dash B, Hero, and Krusty. on the U.S. side, we have Command Phoenix with Adore, Axe Gaming, and It's Crispy.
Hey, yo, how do I change seats, bro?
F1, F2. If you,
Need equipment kits.
Kevin over on YouTube saying, can't wait to get my rig set up so I can participate in these events. I love watching every one of y'all's streams. It gives me something to do when I get late off of work. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I am completely addicted to this game. Like, it's a serious problem. I think I have almost 2,000 hours in it, and a lot of it is from being in these operations, and I don't regret any minute of it. I love this so much.
The operations are great, and the community is pretty nice too. Lots of friendly people to join in with, and we get a lot of people that come through our public servers too, and it's not the trolley server that some can be. Most people on the pub server, you know, typically very friendly, very focused on just trying to do well. And our operations, obviously they're different than pub servers. One life and other various restrictions make it a bit more competitive and challenging of an environment than a pub server. And you know, we gotta thank all the players for coming out. You know, sometimes some of them come out multiple times a week to try to play in operations, and we have 3 operations a week because of the involvement our community has in these things. So
yeah, if you want to join in on the events, make sure to go and check us out at squadops.gg. That's where you sign up for these events. That's how you sign up on the website to get whitelisted onto our servers. A lot of people don't know that. If you sign up on squadops.gg, if you just make an account, that's all you have to do. You get priority queuing on every single one of our public servers. Anything that says squadops.g in the front of it, you get priority queuing. So make sure to sign up there. And then if you want to join in the events, all you have to do is take SOTT Basic. And you can even do an impromptu if the times are not working out for you. You can get you and a couple buddies into like a custom session.
I'll try and watch out for infantry around this. Alright, yeah, as long as you give calls, I'll tell you what I see as well. I'll just let them know. We good? Cool.
matter of fact, we have a basic SOTT course this Saturday.
Yeah,
you can
I
check
believe
the calendar on the website, and it'll show the time when it begins in your time zone. It's brilliant. I like that.
You probably
It's
weren't
just
here for
all I need to do is tell
are
Barden
the
your
reason why
exact home address, your pet's first name,
Alright, good.
or your first pet's name, your mother's maiden name, and yeah,
The
he
street
can
you grew up
pick the
on.
times out. Yeah, yep. It's really simple for him.
Oh damn.
Okay.
See, I think we're pretty close to live time. Yeah, we're about a minute out here.
No.
Russia's team's all but deployed to their vehicles right now, so they're going to roll pretty quick. They have.
I'm really
They
liking
have
the
a
U.S.
logic lead in
deployment place. I'm gonna go over there and check that out. If you want to stay with the Russians.
Ooh, that's a fancy place.
Yeah, I do like that. It's gonna be really condensed, and there's a lot of hill around it. I'll be sure to check this out. I haven't really played in that area, this map, and I think it's gonna be an advantage for defense for sure.
I wonder if they're gonna go all out with the fortifications as much as they can.
I mean, they barely have to move anywhere to set up a fob.
Yeah,
or
sure.
to get supplies for the fob.
Want to make sure there's lots of supplies before leaving.
We are live. So U.S. can start building now. Russia starts moving into position.
We still have the dish for the pause we'll find out. Remember vehicle space.
And the Russian vehicle column this time, 2 transports, then the BTR, and then the Logian Trail.
Alright, so scanning over the U.S. right now. This is their main FOB compound. And it's surrounded by actually a pretty nice arrangement of like, I don't know, it's like these spires of dirt just sticking out of the ground randomly. I don't know how these form, but They're there. And then also a really nice hill like plateau that will just overlook them. I can see some problem areas like this hill up here. If the U.S. are not aggressive about that hill, I can see that being a huge problem area.
I fixed it.
But other than that, I mean, the U.S. they have such good view on everything else. Like, I mean, they really are going to see a lot of area before the Russians get close. I like this. This is a good location.
Russian this time are opting to take the
I think we're good.
The western
good.
edge of the zone.
Yeah,
They're going to go
sure
straight
always
north
off.
along the road
Oh, wait,
because
never mind.
vehicles move faster on roads, don't you know?
They also, trees do not grow on roads, so you don't have any trees to hit.
It's nice and clear.
Yeah, there's nothing for you to flip on, no little twig for your, 10-ton vehicle to get stuck on.
Dig, dig, dig.
The only thing with this U.S. location is like, they're not spread on out. They're staying very, very condensed, very static. But that just might be because they're building up right now, and then 5 minutes in they'll kind of sprawl out. They have the time for it. It's gonna take a long time for the Russians to get over all the way across this side of the map.
It's probably going to take them a long time to figure out they're there.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a while. Yeah, I don't know. There's interesting locations for these U.S. Like maybe actually their main, like because the Russians can enter the U.S. main. There is no boundary on it, so the U.S. can't take that up as a forward location. That'd be a really nice place to overlook their fob. Other than that, I mean it's really hard to spread your men out, except having maybe something across this valley on this hill. It's pretty close by. But, I mean, it's just, you have to really, really spread yourself thin if you want to go anywhere else.
Getting a Russian dismount here as they get to the river. I think they're going to take this river crossing very carefully. Yeah, they're gonna try to inspect the bridge, make sure there's no surprises for them.
The supply route for these lodges is basically a football field's length. It's that's pretty silly. So they're going to be able to build up a lot for these fobs. I feel bad for the MRAP driver, Mr. Perfy here. He used to drive back and forth.
It gives him something to do.
Yeah.
He's probably got the most exciting job on the team right now, aside from whoever's building everything.
I mean, that's literally everyone. Everyone's digging right now.
I'm liking it.
I mean, why wouldn't they be? Driving on a road is more exciting than, making sure your double works.
Karma would be proud.
It's very, very juicy.
Russians have security on the bridge. I believe they are satisfied that there are no forces nearby. Squad leads are trying to get high up, and they're trying to get some visibility far with their binocs.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out like angles that the Russians are going to be able to see them, because these sandbags, they will stick out extremely well on the desert scenario. I think the one hill that's going to be able to see this, they'll give it all away, is a hill that looks over what we believe is Sunikal in the old evasion layer. It's this monstrous size hill on Kohat. We'll fly over and see what type of eyes it has on the US fob.
Oh, that's so far away.
I mean, yeah, it's like 2 clicks.
I went over to the hill where I think the Russians are going to move to next, and I'm going to try to cycle through some options here to make sure I see the troops. It's so far away, the troops don't show up on my spectator screen.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I flew away when they still had their outlines, so I have them. But on top of this main hill, I mean, that fire base sticks out like a complete sore thumb. I mean, it is so obvious where they are. They got to get over there. I mean, you can see where I am on this map. I'm the yellow dot. You got about, let's see here, 300, 600, 700 to me, just from the Russian line. And then you got another 200, 500, 800 meters to go to the US. I mean, it's so mind-boggling far for any type of contact to really come out from this.
No contact at radio tower.
Maybe the BTR could really arc some shots, but I don't think it's going to be super useful. Be good for observation, but other than that, no.
Speaking of the BTR, it's still on the northern path here. It crossed the bridge, and there's still 3 squads of infantry dismounted, moving across. There's
We could also take
so what you're telling me is that a full platoon is going to move on foot 1,200 meters?
To our east.
I think we're ready.
I think that's
for
what's happening.
A full 1 hour round. I think that's what we're setting up for.
I believe that's what's happening. 3 squads are moving online with the BTR, kind of, sort of, not really. And then there's the Logi, which has its own squad, but has security for it and moving in front of it. So the Logi is moving at troop movement pace. And the BTR is being pretty conservative with how far it's advancing, how fast it is. Stop right now, but I think that's because a squad has been ordered to check this village. They are paranoid right now.
Anyone who is joining in kind of late here, we are on session 2. So this will be the last, or sorry, we're on round 2. So this will be the last round of tonight, unfortunately. But I think it's going to be a good round and a very long round.
After every single maneuver they make,